This is a story of monkey and elephant. I'm going to tell you a story that starts in a jungle far away, but close enough that you could walk there if you were very brave and had plenty of time. If you weren't afraid of being bitten by rattlesnakes, or eaten by polar bears, or walking on the ice across a freezing cold ocean, or being chased by Siberian wolves, or imprisoned in a Chinese sweatshop to make Nike shoes, you could walk from where you are now, all the way across America, and over the Bering Strait when it freezes in the winter, and then could continue walking, down through Siberia and China, past Burma, and you would find the eighth happiest country in the world, Bhutan. It isn't as happy as Denmark, Switzerland, Austria, Iceland, the Bahamas, Finland, or Sweden, but Bhutan is a lot warmer than any of those places, and the people there are happy. Actually, it might not be warmer than the Bahamas, but it is where our story begins. The Bhutanese call their country Druk Yul, which means Land of the Thunder Dragon. The people in Bhutan are so happy because it is always warm there, and because the Land of the Thunder Dragon is such a cool name for a country, and because food grows everywhere, and they don't think they have to have important jobs or much of anything that they don't need, so they have lots of time to play games together. They don't have a lot of toys, but rocks and sticks make the best toys anyway, because they can be whatever you imagine them to be. Happiest of all the people who live in Bhutan are elephant and monkey. They are best friends and get along very well most of the time. Elephant is a monkey, and monkey is an elephant. They aren't human, but they are some of the nicest people you could ever imagine meeting. Monkey is a talented painter. She can spend hours in front of a canvas with a paintbrush held in her trunk. She likes to paint flowers and birds and abstract color fields in the style of Mark Rothko. She is incredibly sweet and thoughtful. Everyone loves her, and her heart breaks if she hears a sad story. People come from all around to tell Monkey their stories, and she doesn't have to say a word, but she makes them feel better. Elephant is a dancer and an acrobat. She is clever and quick and laughs a lot and makes everyone smile. She swings from trees and climbs on vines and once choreographed a dance interpretation of the Brothers Karamazov, which all of the dance critics of Bhutan loved, despite a dismissive review by Twyla Tharp. She was just jealous. Elephant also knows sign language and can talk to people. These two friends are so close that they can't even remember a time before they became friends. If they ever fought, it was because they were trying to outdo one another to be nice. Monkey would stand under a tree, and Elephant would scamper up on top of her head and get them a big bunch of bananas, and they would argue over who would eat the last one. Or Elephant would throw a tea party, and Monkey would refuse to sit down, and instead spend her time making sure that all of the guests had all the warm water and cupcakes they wanted brought to them. She could reach right across the table with her long trunk. Monkey and Elephant lived together. Elephant slept in a treehouse they found near a small lake, and Monkey would sleep underneath, in case of a monsoon, which is a kind of rainstorm that happens sometimes in the jungle. They had lots of friends who would come and sit on their porch and drink out of paper bags and tell each other stories in a funny Bhutanese dialect that was hard to understand. One day, their friends were talking, and Monkey and Elephant heard a surprising story. The fourth Dragon King of Bhutan, Jigme Sengye Wangchuk, had decided not to be king any more. He had been king for as long as Elephant and Monkey could remember, and he was a good king, but he was tired of running the country, and he wanted to spend more time playing instead of ruling. His very handsome son, the fifth Dragon King of Bhutan, Jigme Kesar Namgyal Wangchuk, had agreed to take his place as king. But before he stepped down, the old king decided to tour all of Bhutan and visit all of his subjects. Elephant and Monkey got very excited. They had never met the king before, but really appreciated his generous and kind way of leading the country. They decided to make a present for him to give him when he came through. Elephant would create a new dance celebrating his retirement, and Monkey would paint a picture for him. They started on their project right away, but both of them quickly realized they were going to need something to make their presents. Elephant had accidentally shrunk her tutu in the wash, and it didn't fit anymore. And Monkey had forgotten to rinse out her paintbrush, and it had dried all stiff. "It looks like we need to go to town, Monkey," Elephant said. Elephant nodded a slow nod. Town was too far away for Elephant to go by herself, and Monkey couldn't talk to the people there. She was terribly shy, and also had vocal cords that were ill-formed for replicating human speech. The best she could do was trumpet, which mostly just frightened people. Elephant spoke sign language, which helped a little if they could ever find someone else who spoke sign language. Plus, most shopkeepers frowned at the idea of having an elephant in their shop, even one as smart and sweet as Monkey. But together they made an excellent team. Elephant climbed up onto Monkey's back, and Monkey started the long trek towards the nearest city. They traveled this way for most of a day and encountered a monk from the nearby Tiger's Nest Monastery. Tiger's Nest was built high up on the side of a cliff. There were no tigers there anymore, but the monk still knew enough to be careful of them, and sometimes heard them singing in the middle of the night in the jungle at the base of the cliff. This monk was named Carl, and he had come down the cliff's side to the jungle to gather firewood. "Help me gather firewood," the monk asked the ladies, "and my brothers and I will make you a delicious dinner, and you can stay at Tiger's Nest until tomorrow. Then you can leave in the morning and make it to town by lunchtime." Monkey leaned against a small tree until it fell over, and then Elephant and Carl gathered branches and loaded them into a cart. Monkey dragged the cart up the long path to Tiger's Nest, and Elephant and the monk followed after her. When they got to the large wooden gates, the monk blew a horn that he kept tied around his neck under his robes, and the gate opened wide, allowing Monkey and Elephant to come into the monastery's courtyard. The monks were very happy about all of the firewood. With Monkey and Elephant's help, they had gathered more than enough wood to last a whole week, which meant more time for playing games and singing monk songs. They all sat around a big fire that night and ate roasted roots and had a wonderful time. In the morning, as the adventurous pair left, the oldest monk gave our friends a beaded necklace made from monk's bones. It was a moving gesture, and Monkey's eyes welled up with tears as Elephant climbed on her back, and they said goodbye and set off down the road. Just about the time they got hungry for lunch, Monkey and Elephant arrived in the little town of Paro. Monkey trumpeted a song, while Elephant danced for the people in the streets. Soon they had collected enough money from their performance together that Elephant was able to buy a whole set of paintbrushes and a new tutu and some dancing shoes. Everyone stared at the strange pair, curious about them. As they were leaving town, a handsome man approached them and very politely asked them why they had come to town. Elephant answered him in sign language, but he didn't understand what she told him. Monkey looked at the man and saw that he had a tiny scar under his right eye. When he had trouble understanding them and realized that the conversation was futile, he simply smiled at them and turned away. Elephant felt strangely moved by the man and chased after him. When she caught up with him, she gave him the necklace that the monks had given her. The man just gave them both a strange look, looked carefully at the necklace, embraced them each, and went on his way. Monkey and Elephant were both puzzled by the strange man, and also by their reaction to him, but they made their way back past the Tiger's Nest and got home to their treehouse long after dark. The next day, they started work on their gifts. The rumor from their friends on the porch was that the king was thought to be somewhere nearby and might show up at any time. They worked very hard on the painting and the dance, and that afternoon, Elephant was showing Monkey a move that she had worked out, where she did a double flip and landed on her hands while she took off her hat with her tail, when they heard a commotion and trumpets sounding, announcing the king. Monkey trumpeted nervously as Elephant picked up the still-drying canvas with the painting of a thunder dragon on it, and they headed toward the roads together. When they got to the royal procession, the king was seated on a throne, and surrounded by gifts that he had been given. He was being carried by a dozen handsomely dressed courtiers, and all of Monkey's and Elephant's neighbors were applauding him and following after his train as they traveled. The man on the platform smiled at Elephant, perched on Monkey's back holding the painting. He gestured to them, and Elephant brought Monkey's painting, which the old man admired for a moment. Monkey blushed and looked away. Then Elephant began her dance. She swung from tree to tree in a blur, her tutu fluttering as she leapt and spun. She finished the dance with the move she had shown Monkey earlier. When she finished, the old king smiled at them both and thanked them for their gifts. As the procession started to move again, Monkey and Elephant knew they had done their best, but they each felt a little sad. Giving the king their gifts had felt a little empty. But as the courtiers marched by, Monkey and Elephant both saw one of the king's men smiling warmly. And just meeting their eyes before looking away, they noticed the tiny scar under his right eye and saw his hand briefly touch the beaded necklace they had given him when they met him the first time. A rush of warmth and love flooded over our friends as they watched the king's court travel onward through the countryside. Monkey and Elephant went home to plan their next treehouse tea party for their friends.